Vado? Sì. Ok.
Mi accendo anch'io, eccoci qua.
Good morning to all, and welcome. I want to thank you for being here with us to the sea, and also I want to thank you, our colleague connected from remote, from the ships, from office worldwide. So today is a day dedicated to us, dedicated to well-being. Here with me, our friends Filippo and Tiziana. They come from Fixis, which is the company, which is our partner in this initiative dedicated to well-being. So I don't want to take time to Filippo because I'm very excited to do this amazing workshop, but just a few words to comment this journey. As you remember, we started our journey last year with some initiative and a workshop dedicated to well-being. Then? Okay. Can you hear me from remote? No. Fantastic. We can restart, no problem. Rework. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We restart, no problem. So, good morning. Okay, now you can hear me. Okay, good morning and welcome. Thank you for being here. Also for connected colleagues from ships, offices, home, all over the world. So we are here today for a day dedicated to us, a day focused on well-being. Here with me, Filippo and Tiziana from Fixis, which is the company which is our partner on the well-being topic. But no one can hear me. No? You can hear me? Yes. Okay, so go ahead. Okay, so just a few words. We started our path, our journey last year with some events dedicated to well-being. Then we received your feedback in different occasions, and also after collected the data from Capsula, that you certainly remember. For our colleague on ship, we had a kind of station, we can say, which stayed here in the headquarter office for 3 months, measuring some index about our status of health. And based on that, we decided to go ahead in this journey. So this year, we will have 3 events on the well-being. Today is the first one dedicated to work breath, and then Filippo will say more. And why it is important to be here. Because today is like to be in a gym, to train our mental and physical capability to improve our well-being. So let's start. I leave the stage to Filippo, so thank you.
Thank you, Federica. Good morning again to everybody here and from board and from home. We are a lot, more than 100 in a virtual mode, and us today united here to talk about well-being through the most important action that we do every day, every hour, and every minute, which is breathing. So, 2 words about me, so who I am, so who's talking to you today. And we can see that this is me a few years ago, not few years, but 23, 24 years ago. I was 3 years old, and I was not doctor in medical biotechnology. I was not coach in peak performance, proprioceptive training, joint mobility, and functional training, which is a way to find practical tools to live a better life. So it's a gym oriented to better life and performance, not in sport. Good, in sport can be, but the most important performance to me is to be able to have a healthy brain, a healthy body, yes, why not? And all the other things comes later. So, but the most important thing of this slide is this one, because I am an ex-stutterer. Who of you doesn't know what stuttering is? You can raise your hands. In Italian is balbuzie. So I was balbuziente, which is stutterer, and I really enjoy to talk about breathing and all the aspects which link breathing with emotions, with the inner state of ourselves, because thanks to breathing and other things, other practicing is always about training, but thanks to breathing, I'm now able to talk with you fluently, without problems, without doing like this. This stuttering has been part of my life daily. So the more stuttering, the less breathing. I observed this in my life. So the more breathing, the less stuttering, the more focusing on talking, on being present, on feeling my body, and the less stuttering, which was very good to me because I really enjoy sharing these experience and knowledge with you and with everybody which is passionate about well-being as a concrete tool to live better. So this is the previous thing. We are here today to talk about breathing, experiencing the breath work. So first of all, I would like to tell you that if there is anybody who, when I ask for interactions and prefers to speak in Italian, you can do it from home too. You can do it, and I will translate in English because today we all meet in English. We use the English language to make it more universal, okay? But never mind, if you want to speak Italian while doing questions, while sharing, I will translate in English and I will answer in Italian too, okay? So no problem at all. Good. Today will be 20% theory, 80% of practice, because we need theory to understand why and how we have to practice breathing, because breathing is an action which is non-voluntary, but I would like to describe it, to call it a semi-voluntary natural act. We breathe every day. We can breathe without putting attention to it, but if we put a voluntary intention on breathing, it's really better, and we will see today why. So, a semi-voluntary natural act. When we burn, we have a particular way of breathing, which is natural. And then by growing up, meeting life, many aspects of life, we progressively, such as movement, such as range of motions in our joints, we progressively lose all these possibilities. And it happens with breathing too. So the first practice of today is now, and is to feel, to see together how we breathe. Everybody, every one of you, here and from home and from board, I will ask you to sit in a semi-comfortable position so we can stay sit, but with the spine more straight, with the feet on the ground. We split the feet like this and we stay on the ground, sit comfortably but with a structure. So we stay in our structure. We use the hands and we put one hand here under the stomach, not on the lower abs but in the middle of our belly. And the other hand, we put it on the chest. Good. We feel our spine, we feel our feet, we feel comfortable, but with structure. Good. We close our eyes and we take 5 breaths with your time. So everybody can count his breath, and when we finish, we wait for the others to finish and stop. We can breathe through the nose, observe if we use the mouth. Good. So we took some time to experience some breathing, 3, 4, 5. Good. But this is a good test, a good assessment moment to take a picture of how we breathe and which way we choose to breathe. So if I ask you, and everybody can answer, which hand moves first, the higher or the lower hand? We can notice this. How many of you here, and also how many of you from home, how many of you observe that the first hand, the hand on the chest, moves predominantly, moves more than the other one? We can raise our hands. Eleonora, I see it. Okay, so many other, 3, 4, and others. Here, almost, we can see almost everybody. Good. Others may notice that this hand stays stopped here and the other is moving. Somebody too. Good. Let's see from home. Okay. So it's almost 50-50. If there's a problem if the hands stays like that, okay? But there's no problem at all if they move together. There's no problem at all if the first one moves and the other one not. And there's no problem if this one moves and this one not. Because if the hands are moving, we are alive. We are breathing. So good. We don't need doctors. But what happens if only the hand on the chest moves? We may have lost the natural way of breathing because we put the breathing higher. And this is very common to people who may suffer from panic attacks, anxiety, and some of these kind of situations, which are situations. Okay, they are problems, but they are situations. And through observing this simple split of breathing and be able to control breathing using the hands and moving the lower hands first, this is very good for anxiety. It's very good to prevent these kind of issues, such as panic attacks and related situations. But the most important thing is that it's more natural breathing here. We can breathe higher if, for example, we have something which is pressing here, so we are able to put the air on other places in our body, because we can put the air everywhere in our body, in this part, in the core, in the thoracic part, okay? Good. In the trunk. So how can we progressively change this situation? How can we restore a natural breathing dynamic. We have to practice it. And another question can be, in which act, when I inhale or when I exhale, in which act I take more time? Which one I do it fully, 100%? So I 100% inhale or I 100% exhale. We have to observe all of these things because when we inhale, we welcome the air, and we welcome air which is our first food and our first medicine, such as Hippocrates said many, many, many years time ago. Okay, so one of the most important medicines of our history told us that air is the first food and the first medicine that we take, and we take it by inhaling. So through the nose is better because the nose is the primary tool to use when breathing. The mouth is an accessory way for emergency. Okay, so while breathing, we can notice, good, which hand moves first? I breathe predominantly through the mouth or through the nose. If I think that I breathe predominantly through the mouth, I can take some breathing like this. Is there somebody who even sleeps with the mouth covered by some tools? I tried it, but I think that is more effective if we put intention in it, and if we take 5 minutes of our day breathing through the nose. We can apply also some help with the hands, picking the nose like this through the wings of our nose, and do this movement like this. And we will welcome more air. So take like 10 breaths like this. It's very simple, we can do it everywhere. We are welcoming more food, more medicine, more energy, if you want to talk about energy too, because we are welcoming more resources through the nose. The nose is the primary way. The mouth is the second. So we are putting information step by step. And another thing which we can notice through the simple first assessment, so which part moves first, which act takes more or less time, which part of my body I use it predominantly to welcome air and to say goodbye to the air. Thank you and goodbye. We did what we have to do, and then goodbye. Welcome new air. The last one could be, how is my emotional and mental state right now? So this is a total assessment, because through breathing we can go and change our mental state and emotional states. Before going to the next slide, I would like to ask you, who of you plays some sports or do some trainings? You can raise your hands. Trainings could be swimming, gym, running, any kind of hobby, even you from home and from board. So just to let me know if I'm speaking to some people passionate about sport or passionate just about enjoying free time walking. Walking is a beautiful act too. So while doing sport, while doing our walking, and while doing our mental performances, it's very important to focus on how we breathe, focusing on apnea, focusing on exhalation, focusing on inhalation through the nose. When we are on fatigue, exhalation through the mouth. So using this emergency tool to improve our gas exchange, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Good. So keep this in mind for later, because we will practice a lot, and I will introduce you some techniques which are good for increasing mental efficiency and creativity, to stress management, and also to longevity. Okay, it's because longevity is the link to all of this. We can perform better if we stay better, if we fit better. And it's not about aesthetic. It's about the inner state which generates the outer states. And the outer states helps to recover the inner states, because air is the first food and the first medicine that we take from the environment. So the quality of air, first of all, is very important, but we talk about it later. Okay, we can go on. With me today, I took some numbers. So we're not doing maths, but we use math to be more conscious about breathing, because usually we hear that we move too little, we don't move, or the majority of people don't move, eat a lot, talk a lot, breathe a lot. So these are some numbers that generally we all stay in it when we don't think about breathing. So the natural state or the unconscious state is 12 to 16 times we breathe per minute, which means 12 to 16 times per minute. 850 times per hour. So we have almost 2 hours, more or less. We will do like 1,600 breaths. But let's see how can we slow down and change the third value, which is not a problem, but the more we breathe, the more we fatigue our breathing system. So in medium, we breathe 18,000 to 22,000 times per day. In stress situation, we go up to 25,000 breaths per day, which is a lot. If we breathe more than 15 to 16 times per minute, we can have a problem of our heartbeat, because the heartbeat goes faster. We need to slow it down. So these are the numbers since where we start. And an experiment that you all can do tomorrow, today, this evening, after drinking and eating. And the most important thing that you have to do is count it. So how many breaths in a normal state you take per minute. And then with some math, you can discover how many times per hour and how many times per day, which is very important to make an assessment, an assessment with numbers. Good. We move on, because before practicing, I would like to talk about the numbers and the functions of breathing, but not the most famous one. The functions that we sometimes forget of breathing, of our first food and first medicine, which is air, our relationship with air, the fluid in where we live. We live in air. We are surrounded by air anytime. So, we have, through breathing, through a conscious breathing, more relaxation, concentration, improvements in mood, and through oxygenation, because we welcome the oxygen and our brain uses the oxygens to function better. That's why when we walk in mountain, we can feel a little bit more fatigue, because there is less oxygen. Let's move on. Movement balance, more movement balance. How? I will ask you to stand up right now. Please, thank you. And even who is from home can stand up. We don't need so much space, so it's good like this. And we can breathe, so you go on breathing, and so, at one moment I will ask you to do this. And to find the better way of balancing. Okay, so now breathe. Eyes open right now because fine balancing with eyes closed is more difficult. Okay, raise the left leg up and find a way to balance. You can go down, good. Go on breathing through the nose, please. And raise the other leg right now, the right one. Good. We stay like this for a bit. And down. Perfect. So, I ask you to stand up for a bit because I would like to make some reflections with you about, obviously, the use of the eyes. So, to balance more, we can watch a place or choose an object which is like almost 2 meters in front of us, focus on it, and then just stay. But what about breathing? What happens? We inhale or we exhale when we try to balance, or we try to stay in an apnea state, a free diving state. Who of you inhale by raising the hand? So it's like, let's do it again and try to focus on it, on your breathing state. So raise the left leg and stay. Raise and stay. And focus on which state is better for you, inhaling, exhaling, or apnea state. Some of you say apnea. Okay, you can go down, you can do with the other legs, and observe if it's more natural to inhale, exhale, or stay suspended. Okay, good. Raise your hands if you inhale while balancing. Raise the hands. At home too, please. 6, 5, 4, 5, again. Okay, so here the majority, I think, yes. Who of you exhale while balancing? So, and stays. 2 here. And somebody, let's see the numbers. Even at home, not everybody exhaled. Good. Who of you stay in an apnea state? So, okay, good. First of all, there's not a perfect thing. I will talk about economy. The most economical way to balance is through an exhalation. So it's like this. And I stay. We try for the third set. We do the third set. Try to raise the leg. You can challenge yourself with some most difficult positions, but here we want to keep it simple. We want to take the concept with us. So raise the left leg and breathe out. You can use the mouth too. And try to relax through an exhalation, a long one. Once we find balance, we go down and we go with the other leg. It can be different depending on the story of your legs, and the shoes that you are wearing too. But this is double challenging. So, very good. Stop. But why? Why through breathing, we improve movement balance? It's all about the muscles that we use while breathing, when we breathe consciously, and when we have an active body with an active core, which doesn't mean strong. An active core means a strong core, but a stable core, where all the relationships between muscles are functionals. When we breathe out, we activate an important muscle, a stabilizer muscle, which is the transversus abdominis, the inner abdomen muscle. We have the rectus, and then we have, under it, we have the transversus. And by exhalations, we activate the transversus. Think about when you do like, this is inhalation or exhalation? This is exhalation, good. And if we touch here, so it's like lower belly on the side, and we do like this, we can hear pushing. Okay, this is not intentionally, this happens. But why? But what if we breathe out in 5 or 6 seconds and we press here? So breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can perceive in this part a muscle which is pushing against our fingers. When we exhale, so when we try to balance by exhalation, we are training our core. So there's the link between a good breathing techniques, a conscious breathing, and a quality of movement. Quality of movement is also about walking and actions that we do on a daily basis. Okay? Any questions from here? So you can take your seat, and we move on with the functions that we sometimes forget about breathing, which is about performance. We have marginal gains of 3%. But what does it mean? It means that this 3%, which is based on high performance athletes, tells us that through breathing, through breath work, athletes of high performance increase their tool and their gains of the 3%. So it's a soft skills which is not directly linked to the action of the sport. Just think about tennis. We have Novak Djokovic, who takes this topic with much importance. So he breathes, he does a lot of breath work. So for Novak Djokovic, the marginal gains is about of the 3%, performing breathing sessions on a weekly basis. We will talk later about these breathing sessions, because somebody may think, okay, I have to take 2 hours to do it, while it takes less and less time. Attention, yes, but time, not that much. But try to imagine these marginal gains on a normal life situations. So, myself, for example, I do training 3 times per week. Good, training is my job too, but I go training 3 times a week. It's not that much. We have people who trains 6, 7 times per week. I do it 3 times. 5 times, almost 5 times a week, I do some breath work. And I notice, but I have the story of stuttering, so I am helped by stuttering, noticing how breathing is helping me. Good. But I noticed that performing breath work more days than weights or body weight training helps me performing better and recovering better from trainings. And I notice also like how much my state of creativity raises through breath work. So this is the performance that that we are talking about today, because we talk about performance of the mind and performance of the body too. So we go on, we have mental well-being, creativity, we have HR V, which is heart rate variability. Who of you doesn't know heart rate variability? You can raise your hands. If you don't know heart rate variability, you can raise your hands. Because we are always informed about heart frequencies, so how many beats has the heart in every minute. But the variability of these heartbeats, is that important? The answer is yes. And for now, we only have to know that breathwork, conscious breathing, increases our heart rate variability. And later, we will see, theoretically and by practicing, how. We move on, and we see that neck and back pain problems can be prevented and sometimes solved through a good breathing. Why this? Because we will see later that muscles of breathing, the first one, the diaphragm, has some connection with the lumbar spine and the cervical spine, structural connection. So our body is made like that, is made to link and to connect neck and lower back to our breathing. Many connections in our body, and through breathing we can explore them and regulate them. Last but not the least, almost 70% of our catabolites are eliminated through breathing, which means that when we exhale, we are eliminating catabolites. The other 30% is eliminated through the skin and through the secretory pathways. Yes, Federica? Catabolitis is the substances that our body doesn't need. So we use it, we take food, we breathe air, we take oxygen, and we have to give back to the environment carbon dioxide. So this is a catabolite. But then we can go from atoms, molecules, compounds, okay? That's why we go to the bathroom. That's why we sweat, okay? But the 70% of our catabolites are eliminated through breathings. This is an important fact, because if we breathe in a superficial way, approximative way, we are not eliminating all the catabolites. And of these 70%, we can eliminate the 50%, the 40%, and the other stays in our body. If we are lucky, if we move our body, we can put it away through sweating. If we eat in a functional way, we can modulate it in other manners. But breathing is our first food, and air is our first food and our first medicine. Breathing is how we establish relationship with our first food and our first medicine. That's why it's so important. So, these are not all the functions, but today I wanted to talk about the functions that we sometimes forget. Because every day, all of you has challenges, mental challenges, maybe also physical challenges, like we have to perform with an efficient brain state. So breathing is the first tool in our box to help us doing better and better. Better and smarter, okay? Very good. So, all this part to notice that every day we choose to live almost 20,000 times. This is the number, more or less, of our breathing state. But by breathing, I know that it can sound more philosophical or poetry way, but we literally choose to live. Because if the hands doesn't move, there's a problem, as you said, okay? So every day, we choose to live almost 20,000 times. And before practicing, these are the questions. Why should we train breath? Okay, I put 3, but I will tell it to you. So you can read it, you can take pictures or notes if you want, but the most important thing is to put all these 3 points into the practice, because these are the bricks of the tower that we are going to build through practicing. So we breathe, we train breathing to act on our physiological conditions. That's a difficult word. Good. But we can modulate it. We can change the chemistry of our body. And our body, our actions, are made predominantly by chemistry. Hormones, molecules, enzymes. Good. So, through breathing, we can act on these particular conditions. We can modulate states of excitement, arousal, and stress. We can prevent situations such as burnout, for example. It requires a learning process, a method. It's not that every kind of breathing techniques is good for every one of us. I never heard somebody like having some problems through practicing normal breathing, coherent breathing, and we will see later what does it mean. But breathing, practicing some advanced techniques of breathing without having known the structure and our relationship with air can cause some problems. We can experiment hypoxia, for example, and if our body and our brain are not ready to it, we can experiment some troubles. But that's why it requires a learning process. Because for human beings, breathing almost always happens unconsciously. Yes, it's true that we are the only animals who have to think about breathing. Okay, let's move on. How can we restore this healthy relationship with breathing? Because we are the only animals who also can create incredible things. So I don't want you to move back to the animal states. Animals are amazing, but human beings can do something more, can put these natural acts and create beautiful things by using the mind, by educating the mind functions better through breathing. And last, if we train breathing, we work on our resistance and our resilience. So, not only on a metabolic level, but also on a mental level. Perception of fatigue passes through breathing, because if our breathing rhythm changes, the heartbeat changes, and our emotional state changes. It's not reversible. It's like this. If the breathing changes, all the things changes. Good. Now let me introduce the next exercise, which is about discovering the main character of breathing, the diaphragm, this beautiful umbrella that we all have in this part of our body. We have it forward, sideward, and backward. So it's good to practice these exercises for the diaphragm to strengthen it in all the directions. So I will ask you to stay sit, yes, with the structure of before. So an active sitting. Also you from home, just let me know if sometimes you can stay with me in a good way. Just put it on the chat or just put some thumbs up so I know that you're also with me. Thank you. Good. So, from this position, we can now put the hand on our chest and put the hand on our belly. Good. like this. And we can practice the previous breathings focusing on moving only the lower hand. We do it for 5 times. I will ask you to 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. So, the highest hand stays in this position and we try to don't move it. First breath, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Second. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. You can close your eyes if you want. Third one. Breathe in. Breathe out. And try to move only the lower hand. Number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4. We do the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we breathe out. Good. Now we have experienced the expansion of the diaphragm in these directions. But this direction has a duality. We have to move it forward and backward. So, a good thing is to practice it by laying down, bending the knees, feet on the floor, and try to put in maybe a book here to expand the book up and this part of our back down. This is very good to feel the expansion in this way of the diaphragm. But the diaphragm is such as a circle, is an umbrella. So it has to be able to move this part too. So the next one is to put this space between the first finger and the second finger of the hands on our ribs. So here, and we can do it like this or like this, putting 3 fingers on 3 ribs. You can choose which one fits better for you. I would like to do this, which is more simple. Good. From now, we only have to focus when we inhale to push the hands sideways. So you can close your eyes, relax the shoulders. First of all, exhale. So we reset. We use the mouth to reset. Every time you perform breathing, first of all, exhale. And then we go. Breathing through the nose and push the fingers away. Remember to stay seated with the feet on the ground, with the spine straight, which is better for us. Breathe in and breathe out. We can try to maintain 4 and 4 breathing rhythm. We go on and we try to spread the ribs through to our left and right. Focus on it. We do one more. Breathe in and breathe out. Make sure that you all breathe out. Good. When we finish, we move back to the previous position. And I would like to ask you, to you all, by raising the hands, who of you found it easier, the first one? So the expansion forward and backward, or also forward, by raising the hands. Okay, here, the half, good. Easier. Yes, easier the first one than the other one. I see that from home. Somebody's raising the hands. Macarena, Okay, I see you. Good. What about the second one? Who of you found it easy? Good. In my opinion, for our society, the nowadays society, which is more frequent, we are more used to breathe through the upper part of our body. As a consequence, this part is more closed. So a good exercise to restore posture as well and mood is this one, to create space sideways, because we welcome more air on the lower part of our lungs. So think about the lungs as, you all know SpongeBob, okay, good. Think about a sponge, and by breathing from here, we are only using the highest part of our lungs. By creating space through this simple exercise, which can also be done with a partner, so we all relax everything, the partner stays like this behind of us, and we only have to put the hands away while in inhalation. This simple exercise helps our umbrella doing its functions in a better way, because when we breathe in, the lungs need space, so physiologically, the diaphragm goes down when we breathe in. When we breathe out, we have to put the air away, so the diaphragm goes up. But the diaphragm is linked with ribs. So what happens if we spread the ribs? What happens if I pull from here and from here? We create space for a natural diaphragm movement down. So a natural diaphragm stretching. We are doing stretching. We are releasing tensions. We are allowing the vagus nerve, all the blood vessels that we have, which passes through the diaphragm, to relax. This is an important thing if we talk about mood, if we talk about emotional state, if we talk about mental efficiency, if we talk about fatigue. Because through creating space here, sideways, like we have a belt, and we have to move it through the mobility of the ribs, because this is a joint, so we have to move it. But we have to help with the hands, because our brain may have lost the neuroplasticity of moving it. And our brain is about use it or lose it. If we don't use it, we lose it. Okay? So this is the function of our umbrella. I will skip all the details about anatomy and things like that, because we want to practice. But through this simple exercise, we spread it this way, and by spreading, we create more space for the diaphragm to go down, to stretch. And then, the more you stretch, the more you contract. The more you inhale, the more you exhale. The more you exhale, the more you inhale. The more you put away the catabolites, the more food and medicine through air you can welcome in our body, in your body. This is very important. So, this is the action that I mentioned before. When we breathe out, the diaphragm goes up, the lungs compress, and the air goes out. And never mind, if you don't focus on it, it will happen not at the same way, but it will happen. It keeps us alive. But what if we put more attention to use this beautiful tool that we have to improve all the functions that I mentioned before? So keep this in mind, and as I introduced the diaphragm. I will introduce, with the help of some pictures, also the transversus abdominis, the muscle of the inner core that I mentioned before. The transversus is like that. So it has a curve which is in front, sideways, and backwards. And it contains organs. It has a relationship, a functional relationship with the external core, and it helps us balancing while exhaling. It helps us exhale all the air out by activating it. So the more I exhale, the more I activate the core. I'm training abs through breathing. We are training abs in a functional way through breathing. I'm doing some gym through breathing. In bodybuilding, there is the vacuum. So you create vacuum, an empty space in your belly, and if you practice it, we are not practicing this right now because I don't know what time you had breakfast, so I don't want to create your stomach some problems. But if you are fasting, if you are with empty stomach, you can try vacuum, or you can try some activations, some strong activation of the transversus. And if the transversus functions well, breathing and breath work is better. Just because the pressure of our lower belly is proportionate, is natural, and we don't have any risk of prolasso. We don't have some kind of risks, for example. Good. So, how can we use breathing as a tool of stress management? I think that you all know or have heard at least once, I'm talking about eustress, distress. Here we have level. With the help of the colors, we can notice when the stress is good and when the stress is not good. Any kind of stress, like any kind of stressor can be good or not good. Training as well can be a good stressor or a bad stressor if we train too much, for example. Resting could be a good stressor or a bad stressor. If we only rest, and the body develops some kind of laziness. Okay, so we have to put ourselves in the green line. But what we want to notice from this slide is that, and I mentioned it before, in a distress state, we breathe up to 25,000 times a day. And people, that's a lot. That's a lot because for 25,000 times, we are using our abs, we are using our trunk in a compulsive way and unconscious way. There's always emergency. It's like we are always on emergency. How can we change and can slow down the breathing? First of all, we can double the time of exhalation despite of inhalation. So what if we breathe for 3 seconds and we exhale for 6 seconds, for example? So if you give me 1 minute, I will try to show you how can we do it in a practical way, which is by calculating our heart rate. So you can do it here or you can do it here. The thing is, for 1 minute, I will take it with the phone, or if Tiziana can you do it for me. We take 1 minute and we count how many heartbeats we have. With eyes closed, focused. When you're ready, you tell me, Tiziana, and we start. You here and you from home too. We count the beats. You can use it, yes. If you have the smartwatch, you already know. But we do it to know how to do it. Are you ready?
Yes, 1 minute instead, okay?
Instead, yeah.
Okay.
Go. You count it. We are almost there. Stop. Any one of you now has a number. Keep this in mind. Now we will try to play with numbers and do a little bit more exhalation despite of inhalation. We play with numbers and we do it for 6 breathing X. Okay? So, try to focus. Close your eyes, stay in the position, feet on the ground. I will count you the seconds and the breathings. So you only have to breathe, okay? Exhale through the mouth too. All out. And we can start. Breathe in through the nose. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 2, 3. Breathe out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 2, 3. Breathe out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. 2, 3. Breathe out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Breathe in. Breathe out. A long, long way out. 3, 2, 1. Go. We switch again on counting the heartbeats. So we do another minute, please. And when the time is ready, we start. Try to keep this rhythm of breathing low. We don't want to now to make a miracle, but we want to notice if our body is responsive to these variations. Go. Start and count it. Breathe while count it. Breathe out. Almost there. Stop. By raising the hands, how many of you observe that the second number is lower than the first number? By raising the hands. You did it perfectly. At home or on board? Kati, 2, okay, good. I see thumbs up almost everywhere, good. So, we did it 6 times, and we work more or less 1.5 minutes. So, to manage stress state, the stress state, in a normal position, because now I think that we are all more or less relaxed. We are in a state of relaxed attention, I think. But any of us has his own rhythm. Our heart has its own rhythm. But in a situation of stress, of distress, the rhythm tends to change, raising, increasing, because the breath states increase, because we forget the exhalation. So a good tool, practical, concrete tool to manage a stress state, a de-stress state, not eustress state, which is good, but a de-stress state, a state of anxiety, dysfunctional and emotional states, we can play with numbers and we can do like 3 seconds inhalations, 6 seconds, we can double the time of the inhalation. And step by step, we will increase our breath capacity, and we can do it 4, 8, 5, 10, 10, 20 seconds of exhalation, which is a lot, but we are able to do it. Yes? It's like hacking our stress. Biohacking the stress, literally. And we are doing it intentionally. Yes, Federica? Good question. I think that she asked the question that the majority here or at home asked to themselves, because should I use the mouth or the nose to breathe the air out? Let's see. If it's the first time that I do it, to make it work for me, but for me, not for some ego or other things, because it's the first time I am a beginner in a semi-voluntary act, but I am a beginner. So the first time is allowed to breathe out through the mouth too, because we can blow the air away. We can improve the activation of the transversus abdomini, which is good for our lower back pain too, for example, because we create good pressure, we restore the good pressure in our lower core. So, first of all, we have to stay with the task. The task is breathe out for 6 seconds. If my nose goes up to 4 seconds, I have 2 seconds left. Despite of doing, stress myself more, simply blow out the air, okay? But by practicing, the goal is to focus on using the nose, because through the nose, we have many receptors of NO, nitric oxide, which is a substance which releases our blood vessels. La sostanza vasodilatatrice per eccellenza, l'ossido nitrico, nitric oxide. And by exhaling through the nose, we activate receptors which are involved on the synthesis, on the production of this important substance, of this important molecule. So the goal is to breathe out through the nose. Think about when we sleep. If while sleeping, the top moment of our recovery, if we breathe out through the nose and we fully exhale the air through the nose, we can improve our deep sleep state, deep sleep time, and sleep quality as well. Recovery quality as well. So that's the goal. But first of all, we stay with the task. We are in a stress state. In a stress state, it's not easy to breathe through the nose, to exhale through the nose, so we can use the mouth. But As soon as we get back to a central state, to a quiet state, we switch to the nose. Mouth is for emergency. Mouth is when the nose is closed. We are a little bit cold, okay? Good. So in this exercise, you can use the mouth, but blowing the air away, always intentionally. Good. So this is a brief diagram of what I mentioned before, because through regulating the breath frequency, we can modulate heart rhythm. And we saw it by doing 6 breaths, like 3 seconds exhalations and 6 seconds, 3 seconds inhalation and 6 seconds exhalations. And by changing the heart rhythm through breathing, we can modulate neurochemical hormonal response. This molecule, who of you knows this molecule? Okay, it's quite normal that you don't know it, but if I mention it, if I tell you the name, I'm sure that you all know it. It's serotonin. Serotonina. Serotonin, these beautiful molecules, is an hormone strictly linked with breathing, but not general, with a kind of breathing that increases the brain oxygenation. Living in a city like Genova with the sea very close by is very good for our serotonin because we have more oxygen in the air. If we live in mountain, it's not that we are on a bad mood always. The body will find a solution to improve, to increase the serotonin production in a condition of less oxygen. The body adapts always is able to adapt if the stimulus is progressive, okay? So, this is not reversible. It's always because the breath frequencies changes that our hormonal states changes. We can modulate the chemistry of our body through breathing. It's not that the chemistry of our body modulates our way of breathing. This is what we may think because we can notice not, oh, my body is not producing serotonin. We notice that our breath is here or is accelerated. This is the message of our body. But if we explore it through science, obviously, we notice that it's not this response which influences the frequency of breathing. It is the reverse. It happens here. It happens with, like we have the possibility to change this pathway. So the key point is that by breathing we stabilize our mood through changes in our heart rhythm and inner chemistry. It's not that we always have to do 3 seconds in, 6 seconds out. If you want to manage stress, if we want more calm, we can do it. But if you need to perform and we want more oxygen, we can do the reverse. Not 6-3, but some things like this. So I breathe in, I fully breathe in, I breathe out like until here. So I increase the oxygen of my body. And I can play also with apnea. Why apnea is linked to this man? Longevity, yes, because like, we link apnea to our friend, The name is Yoshiro, and he's an inventor. Over 2,000 inventions brevettate. And the tool that he uses for increasing creativity is apnea, free diving in water, because at home he has a swimming pool. Never mind, we can practice the dry apnea. There is apnea free diving and dry apnea. If we do, this is dry apnea. If we do, this is dry apnea too, because we are doing in air, the fluid in where we live. But the intuition of this smart man was very simple, was that by doing apnea, intentionally doing apnea, the level of carbon dioxide in our blood increases. Emergency. The answer of the body is that a message to our brain comes telling, "Oh, we need more oxygen." Yes? I will tell you the difference between. Usually when you go in the water, you do and then you go. So you keep your lungs full of air, but you can also do the opposite. You can exhale and just let you go in water. The time will be different, or you can do both together also. Yes. And at the end, release it, yes. If you go in the water with the lungs full of air, the apnea usually it's longer, okay? But there's a changing in our inner chemistry if we do one or the other one, and we will notice it. But after the message, we need more oxygen because there's more carbon dioxide in the blood. The message reveals or takes the vessels, the blood vessels, in a dilatation state through nitric oxide. That's why we have to use the nose when we breathe in the air, because we train this system to be responsive, to be fast, to help us. So, the blood flow increases, and this leads to more brain oxygenations. The intuition of our friend Yoshiro is that it's enough to slightly increase the carbon dioxide content in the blood to make arrive more oxygen to the brain, resulting in an increase in its performance. The more oxygen we have, always in a medical and clinical range, the more our brain performs in a good way. So we can use apnea to intentionally stress our body and make it adapt to our situation. But what's the matter with apnea practicing? Apnea practicing is very linked to some fears, for example. Some of us can experiment fear while doing, or panic while doing apnea. I am without air. That's why, such as breathwork, there's a learning process. We have to pass through a learning process. First of all, we can experiment the dry apnea. And I would like to propose you this practice, which is quite famous nowadays because it comes from yoga tumo, which is a kind of yoga. The yoga tumo is the yoga of cold, so cold exposition practice is linked to this breathing exercise, but we stay here, we stay in this beautiful temperature. We don't go to the sea right now to dive and breathe together, but we practice the breathing part. So, Today there's a coach, which is Wim Hof, who promotes this kind of breathing. And I find very helpful doing the one that you can find, such as Yoga Tumo or Wim Hof method. But this part of the Wim Hof method, I think is very useful to put, for example, in the morning, in our morning routine. So we will perform one set. We are supposed to do 3 times the thing that we are going to do, but we do it one, and then you can take it and put it on your daily basis. I usually do it not every day, because I think that every day is too much stressful for me, not for the body, but for the laziness. I think, yes, I started with 3. 3, I can handle it. 7, too much. Okay, so 3 times a week. Good. The exercise is like this. It's a routine. We have to do 30 breaths. As I showed you before, we want to oxygenate the brain. So I breathe out through the nose and through the mouth. I breathe in through the nose. I do it for 30 times. I will count the breath. I will clap my hand every 10 breaths. So at the 3rd, we have to stop it. The last breath, the number 30, we breathe out. And we hold the apnea state. And we try to do it for 10, 20, 30 seconds, up to 2 minutes. Who knows? It's the first time, so don't push yourself to win, because there's not a race. The thing is to know your apnea capacity level, okay? And this is an apnea without air, but with a lot of oxygen in our brain. After the apnea, the thing is to breathe in and hold 15 seconds the apnea with the lungs full of air, and then stop. So 30 breath, apnea without air, breathe in, apnea of 15 seconds with air, and then the exercise stops. Yes? It will come naturally. It will be like going up from the water. So it's like, it will happen naturally, because the diaphragm during the apnea is like floating. So when we need air, we only have to do like this. Or, and the diaphragm will come down. A good perception that you can put attention to is, do I feel my diaphragm going down? Why not? If you feel it, the level is very good, because you perceive better this part. So, you stay in your position with hands on the knees, can be, or you can help yourself doing like I do, so like this. We will do 30 seconds. So here, and who is on board or from home, we start right now. We go up to 30 breaths. First of all, exhale. Reset. Here we go. 1, 2. Go on. 'You close your eyes. 10. 20. 26. Last one. Out. Eyes closed. Apnea state. Hold it without inhalation. Try to feeling the floating sensation without distress. So when the body asks for air, we have the nose, we can breathe in, but stay with the floating sensation as much as you can. Relax the face, the skin, the shoulders, the back, the abs. And when you feel is enough, just breathe in and hold for 15 seconds the second apnea. You can count it for you because any of you has different time. We are now almost to 1 minute of apnea. Okay? So, everyone breathe in. And who still has to finish, you can hold the 15 seconds and then and go out. And that's one set. We are supposed to do it 3 times. It's 10 minutes of breath work, which is good to activate our mind, to oxygen our brain, and to switch to an active state to face the day. It's not a stressful state, it's a more oxygenated state. Any questions about it? Yes? While breathing. Good. Yes. It's not dangerous, but we decide if our head turns a little bit while doing the 30 breath, we can start with the 10 breaths, then 15, then 20, 25, 30, because we are welcoming new air. So if our body sends the messages, slow down, it's too much, okay, there's a message. I can investigate my inspiration way. Sometimes, if in the first exercise, the hands, the higher hand moves only and the second one not, this exercise can cause some troubles of, okay, they are linked. So first of all, I have to restore this natural flow and then the other one, okay? We only do one because I would like to move on, but this can be did for 3 times. To sum up, we have the rule and the paradox. So we have a similar result which everyone can reach, perfetto, which everyone can reach by good breathing or good apnea practicing. Is the same result through different pathways. So find the one which works better for you. Because this is a practice, but the good breathing is a practice. The good breathing is to be able to take a picture of the situation. If it's stressful, I need a tool to manage stress. If it's creativity, I need a tool to manage my mental efficiency. Okay? Good. So, the rule and the paradox. The last thing that I talk about you today is longevity, is breathing as a tool of longevity. And we will finish with talking about heart rate variability and practicing the coherent breathing, which is a kind of breathing which is good to increase HRV, heart rate variability levels. What is heart rate variability? Heart rate variability is a time interval. So is a time interval, but it is the time interval between heartbeats. So if our heart makes 60, 70 beats each minute is not that every second is 1 beat. At the end of the minute, I have 60 beats because every second there's a beat. The variability is the space measured in time, in milliseconds, is the interval, the time interval between the beats. Okay, so our heart coherence, our heart adaptability. So heart rate variability is a real bio-indicator of our stress state and our health state. High levels of heart rate variability is what we want. Let's see how. I talked about adaptability. So heart rate variability literally measures our ability to adapt to the situations. It can help us in sport, performance, athletic performance, but also during the day, at work, with my family, with my partner. Because if I have heart rate variability, okay, more longevity, more adaptability, more readiness, more endurance, and first of all, more immune system function. So it's good to measure how many heartbeats we have in 1 minute, but it's also good to measure, is my heart rate variability high or low? You can feel it. If the morning you wake up and there's no reason to smile, maybe the heart rate variability is low. If we wake up, we feel that we rested well. The previous day we enjoyed some good sunlight. Not too much, but the good sunlight. We spent the day in green, the heart rate variability increases. It's not that we have to do it every day, but we are supposed to do it on a weekly basis. We have to focus on having high levels on HRV. How to measure it? Good. For now, we can measure it by fit tracker or smartwatch, or more complex mechanisms. I used to measure my heart rate variability, then I stopped when I observed that if I sleep a good amount of hours, if I train but not too much, if I train the good for me, if I eat in particular moment in a day which is good for me, maybe it's not good for you, the heart rate variability stays at good levels. But through breathing, how can we manipulate this value? And this is the last theoretical slide, which is a science study, a randomized controlled study for the effects of resonance breathing, coherent breathing. Resonance breathing and coherence breathing are the same. Resonance breathing on heart rate variability and cognitive functions in young adults. A randomized controlled study. The less important thing of this title is the word young, because young in this situation is our biological state, not our age, is our biological state. We can manipulate it through breathing also. So, we will practice coherent breathing, which is simply breathe in for 6 seconds, breathe out for 6 seconds. And science gave a good help by doing works like this. They are not so known because the science research on breathing, the first study important, is dated 2017. While Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, Oriental culture tells us, yoga tells us that breathing is the most important thing in life. But now, to me, it is very important that science too, that in the Western society too, we are focusing on breathing. Because through this exercise, for example, we can increase the level of heart rate variability. And the exercise, we will do it for the last 5 minutes. And the exercise is this. I would like to do some consideration first. We breathe in for 5 or 6 seconds. It depends on your level. If we breathe in for 5 seconds, we breathe out for 5 seconds. So it's 10 seconds for breath. 6 breaths per minute. Okay? Good. If we breathe 6 and 6 is 12 seconds per breath, so it's 5 breaths per minute. You can place yourself in the numbers that you think are good for you today. We all will practice, okay? And we will practicing in this beautiful silence. We take a moment for us, we close the eyes. That's the last part, the final part. It's 5 minutes of practicing. I will count for 5 minutes, so you will have silence and my voice to know at what point we are, because the attention may goes elsewhere, and I'm here to help you stay in the present and enjoying this journey and experience of well-being through breathing. So, you find a position that you want, okay? The only thing is to not doing this, for example, so to cross the legs. You can lay down a little bit. You can stay with the back all against the wall, the chair wall. You find a position which is comfortable. At home, you can lay down and do this in a laying down position. If you are on board, you can lay down if you can. Are you all ready? Any questions on the exercise? Good. Close your eyes, please. I will count 6 and 6. Breathe out. Reset. And we start. 1, breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Second in. Out. In. Out. In. Out. We go to the next minute. Breathe in. Out. In. Out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And we prepare for the third minute. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. minute. Breathe in through the nose. 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. We go to our last breath of the exercise. Enjoy it. Breathe in. Breathe all the way out and open slowly your eyes. Good. Are you with me for the last 2 to 3 minutes? Is everything good? This is a powerful exercise, the coherent breathing, based from 2 years to the previous study that I showed you, but the ancient medicine promotes since ancient times. Good. The current breathing is about modulating the numbers of breathings, numbers of breath that we do per minute. And we did it for 5 minutes. Let's do math. So 6 and 6 is 5 breaths per minute. 5 breaths per minute means that in an hour we breathe way less than the previous numbers, 800, 850. In a day is more or less like 8,000 times. So we are not turtles, so we have to ponderate, to do some ponderation, but think about putting these 5 minutes, for example, 2 times in the day. So for 10 minutes, we breathe 5 times per minute. So we consistently decrease the numbers of total amount of breathing, of breaths in the day. So if the problem is that we eat too much, we move too little, we talk too much, and we breathe too much, we can modulate the number of breathing. Breathing less can also make us feeling less hungry. By breathing, we can modulate the hormones of the appetite also, for example. But the most important thing is that we can, by this simple exercise, the coherent breathing, we can modulate our state and our longevity, because thanks to this, your heart rate variability slowly increased, depending on your body, your story, and your situation of now, okay? Now, I would like to take the last minutes for this kind of sharing, my favorite part, knowing from you what you notice. We start with Federica. No problem. I will, for who listen, I will listen to her and then translate, or, for example, we can use the microphone. Let's see. Let's go, Federica.
Okay. You said that there is a correlation between our heartbeat, our emotional, our stress level. So it can happen that you feel your heart beating when you are very stressed, not in a particular moment, but just because you are under stress. So today you show many exercise on breath. Which is your suggestion for this time? What is the best to do this last exercise, or to exercise to take more hair. What is your suggestion?
To manage, stress.
Stress moment, peak of stress in terms of heart peak. When you feel your heart beating
a lot.
and there is no a particular moment, but just because you are under stress.
Good. First thing, thank you for the question. The first thing is to notice in what position we are while stressed. We are sit, we are walking, we are laying down. So the first thing is to change the position. Immediately, I'm stressed by sitting, I stand up a little bit. Or I change the seat, I sit to another place, and then just try to relax more the part which is contract while stressed. While stressed, the heart beats stronger, all the contraction comes higher and higher. So the first thing is to restore the natural breathing by expanding the diaphragm. So to stay stable here and to move lower. When we notice that the pressure from here slowly moves and changes, we can put the other exercise, which is breathe in for example, 3 seconds and breathe out for 6 seconds. So a prolonged exhalation is good for stress management. But first of all, we have to restore the natural wave and way of breathing. So when stressed, first of all, change the position, change the set and settings if you can. If you don't, like if there's not the possibility to do it, find something which is natural, a plant, open a window and just focus on restoring the natural state of breathing. This hand doesn't have to move a lot. This one, yes. They can move together, yes, but the first thing is to restore this space. Later, when the stress is down, you can add some training, which is moving the ribs through inhalation. But this is more advanced. This comes later, because if we have an emergency, we have to solve it. And then we can move on. It's good? We have some questions from who follows from on board, from home. Okay, good. We still have 5 minutes, so if anyone else would like to share something, I'm here to listen and to help if needed. Yeah.
Heart rate variability, it means to increase the capacity of modulate the frequency of the heartbeat?
Yes.
So.
Yes. They are not the same thing, but they are linked, because if the heart frequency is optimal, like we can expect an optimal heart rate variability. If the heart rate variability is low, there's not variability between the heartbeats, it may be because the heart is too fast. No, if the heart beats too fast, there's no time interval between heartbeats, or there's not enough time and space to tell and to notice that we have a good heart rate variability. So they are linked, yes.
So it's better to increase and to reduce practically the frequency of the heartbeat.
Yes, because in this situation...
Like athletes. Like the athletes.
Exactly, like the athletes. Through apnea, we do it. Through prolonged exhalations, we do it. Through, for example, coherent breathing, we do it. Because the heartbeat finds its natural rhythm. And this is very good for healthy and other things that comes later. Because without health, we can not perform mentally and physically. So that's a good question, and that's the link between heart frequency and heart rate variability. Thank you. Grazie. And if you have more questions, we can talk about it. I would like to stay in the time, so I show you the next appointments. that you will do with the Team Pixies, with Federico, a psychologist, specialized as well in mindfulness and mind and body connection. So the 8th of May and the 12th of June, we will meet again, talking about different topics, but starting from breathing is very important because all the things that you learned today, you can put in what you will see in May and in June. I will ask for the second time just to be sure. We have some sharings, questions, okay? It means that it is all clear. Very good. So, to sum up, thank you a lot for the attention. It's been a pleasure to be here with you and to share this bit of experience, knowledge, but first of all, the beauty of the human body and how, by knowing it, we can increase and improve our state of efficiency, health, and creativity. So, have a good day, and thank you a lot. Grazie. Voila.
Finish. I just to know that we have recorded this workshop, and it will be available in the next week. We will communicate on our platform Wellbeing. All right? So we can see again all this amazing workshop. Okay.
Thank you. Grazie davvero. Grazie.
Thank you. Bye.